If your practice offers Invisalign, or you have ever thought we should be doing more Invisalign, I want to give you a different way to look at it. In most general practices, the opportunity is not somewhere far away. It is already sitting inside your patient base. The real question is not whether there are patients who could benefit from alignment. The real question is whether the practice has a system to find those opportunities, a system to explain them responsibly, to enroll the right patients, and a system to track what happens after the conversation begins. This is what I want to unpack in this episode. I'm Mike Kulwiec, the founder of TriVantage and the Champion Dentist Program. In this episode, I'm going to walk you through the TriVantage Invisalign Growth Program. There's also a downloadable companion guide that goes with this episode. I encourage you to download it and review it with your leadership team and use it as a practical way to decide whether this program may be a great fit for your practice. Let's start with the central idea. Invisalign success needs a system. It cannot depend only on the doctor remembering to mention it. It cannot depend only on a patient randomly asking about clear aligners. It cannot and should not depend only on a marketing campaign that creates a burst of attention and then fades away. And finally, it should not depend on just one enthusiastic team member who carries the whole thing by force of personality. Predictable Invisalign growth requires an operating rhythm, a system. That means all these areas have to work together. Leadership, clinical safeguards, team notes, patient communication, affordability, follow-up, monitoring, and measurement. There's a lot. That is why we built the TriVantage Invisalign Growth Program as a practice operating system, not as a motivational presentation. The first thing to understand is that many practices are leaving cases hidden in plain sight. Existing patients may have crowding, spacing, relapse, bite concerns, cosmetic concerns, pre-restorative alignment needs, or smile confidence goals. These patients are not strangers. These are people who already know you, already trust you, and have come to your practice for care. But unless the team has a respectful discovery process, those opportunities often stay invisible. The hygienist may see something, but not know exactly what to say. The doctor may notice something, but be short on time. And the assistant may know the patient has mentioned their smile, but not know where that information should go. The treatment coordinator may conduct a consult, but the patient may not have been properly prepared for a conversation. And the front office may have patients who were interested but never followed through because the next step was not clear. The point is to not pressure patients. The point is to make appropriate opportunities visible, clinically responsible, and easier for the patient to understand. Finding the opportunity is only the first step. The whole pathway, the whole system has to work in a coordinated manner. A practice has to find appropriate candidates. Then the team has to clarify what the patient wants and what the clinical findings show. Then the doctor and team have to help the patient understand the recommendation, the investment, the timing, and the next step. Then leadership has to track what happened. Did the patient schedule the consultation? Did they attend? Did they receive the recommendation clearly? Did they understand the investment? Did someone follow up within the proper time frame? And if they did not start, do we know why? If any one of those steps is left to chance, Invisalign growth becomes inconsistent. That is why the system has to connect the steps. The TriVantage Invisalign Growth Program is built around 10 pillars. Think of these pillars as the architecture of a predictable Invisalign growth engine. The first group of pillars builds the foundation. That begins with leadership commitment. The doctor and leadership team have to decide why Invisalign matters in the practice, what kind of cases the practice wants to pursue, what success should look like, and how the team will stay accountable. The second pillar, the second foundational pillar, is clinical governance. This is where the doctor defines the clinical boundaries that protect the patient and the practice. The third foundation pillar is digital workflow. Patients often understand what they can see. Scans, records, photos, diagnosis, treatment planning, monitoring, and retention all need to become part of a consistent visual patient experience. The second group of pillars improves conversion. Hygiene, hygiene discovery helps the team identify appropriate opportunities respectfully. We use a term called the care consultation. The care consultation gives the team a calm framework for patient conversations. The affordability pathway helps patients understand the investment, payment options, benefits review, written estimates, and follow-up. Our generation program connects marketing, internal campaigns, reactivation, lead routing, scheduling, and follow-up to the same pathway. The third group of pillars makes growth more predictable. Team accountability gives every role an Invisalign behavior standard. Monitoring and retention protect the result after treatment starts. And the KPI dashboard allows the practice to coach and manage by facts, not feelings. Each pillar addresses a common failure point. Together, the 10 pillars give the practice a system the team can understand, repeat, and measure. Now, before we talk more about growth, I want to be very clear about something. This program is not about starting inappropriate cases. Clinical confidence comes first. The doctor owns diagnosis, treatment planning, case selection, informed consent, monitoring, and referral decisions. We created a model called green, yellow, red. This model helps the practice define what it can treat confidently, what requires more review or co-management, and what should be referred. Green cases include alignment situations the doctor is confident treating within the practice's normal protocols. Yellow cases may require additional records, additional training, mentorship, or co-management. And red cases are situations where referral or specialist collaboration is the responsible path. This matters because responsible growth is the only kind of growth we want. It protects the patient and the doctor and the reputation of the practice. This approach gives the team confidence to discuss Invisalign without feeling like they are selling something they do not understand. Once the clinical standard is clear, the patient conversation becomes much easier. This is where the CARE framework comes in. CARE stands for clarify, align, recommend, and enroll. We clarify the patient's concerns and goals. What bothers them? What have they noticed? What would they like to improve? We align those goals with what the team sees clinically. That means we connect the patient's concern to the records, the scan, the bite, crowding, spacing, wear, or the restorative plan. Then we recommend Invisalign only when the diagnosis and records support it. And finally, we enroll the patient in the next appropriate step. That may mean a consultation. It may mean records. It may mean a written estimate, a conversation about monthly options, or it may mean follow-up after the patient has had time to think. CARE is not a hard sell framework. It's a clarity framework. Patients do not need pressure. They need to understand what is happening, why it matters, what their options are, and what the next step looks like. Now, let's talk about the team. Invisalign cannot be predictable if every task falls back on the doctor. Every team member has a role. The clinical dentist sets the clinical standard and owns diagnosis and case selection. The hygienist helps discover appropriate candidates, educates patients, and creates a strong handoff to the doctor. The assistant supports scans, records, aligner delivery, attachments, monitoring, and treatment flow. The treatment coordinator manages the consultation, the investment conversation, financing options, and case acceptance tracking. The front office supports scheduling, confirmations, benefits review, no-show recovery, and follow-up. And finally, the office manager tracks the TriVantage Invisalign dashboard and helps remove bottlenecks. When the team knows its role, the process becomes calmer. The doctor is not carrying everything alone. Patients receive a more consistent experience, and the leadership team can see where the system needs coaching. The program includes a Launchpad session with your team. This is where the system becomes practice specific. This is not a generic training class. It is a working session we conduct with you. This is where the dentist and your leadership team define the current starting point, the target, case economics, clinical boundaries, the team role map, and the first implementation commitments. In the Launchpad session, the practice answers practical questions. How many Invisalign cases are we starting now? What is a realistic first target? What is our average case fee? What kinds of cases for us are green, yellow, or red? Who owns discovery, the handoff, the consult, financing, and follow-up? Who owns the dashboard? And what are the 3 to 7 actions we will commit to in the first 90 days? By the end of the Launchpad session, the practice has the first version of its Invisalign success plan. The first 90 days are about motion, clarity, and accountability. The first month establishes strategy, standards, roles, and baseline numbers. The second month launches discovery, patient handoff, care consultations, affordability conversations, follow-up, and demand activation. The third month refines bottlenecks, reviews the dashboard, improves conversion, and sets the next quarter priorities. The first 90 days are not about perfection. They are about building the rhythm. The practice learns what is working and what is not working and what has to be coached next. That brings us to the dashboard. This is where coaching becomes practical. We are not guessing. We are looking at scans, consults, attended consults, doctor-approved candidates, starts, revenue, follow-up, clinical expectations, and retainers. The dashboard is not about any form of blame. It's about finding any bottlenecks. If scans are low, we coach discovery. If consults are low, we coach the handoff and scheduling. If consults are scheduled but not attended, we coach confirmation and patient preparation. If consults are happening but starts are low, we coach presentation, affordability, or follow-up. If cases start but monitoring or retention is inconsistent, we coach clinical workflow and retention standards. The numbers tell us where to help. That is what makes the system coachable. Now, let's discuss the financial opportunity for your practice. The opportunity can be meaningful, but it has to be presented responsibly. Using a $5,600 average case fee as a planning assumption, 5 Invisalign starts per month represent about $336,000 in annual Invisalign revenue. 10 starts represent about $672,000. 15 starts per month represent about $1 million in Invisalign revenue. And that should be treated as a stretch outcome for a high capacity, well-systemized practice. Another reason the Invisalign opportunity matters is that Invisalign is not only a case start conversation, it becomes a relationship conversation. A well-served Invisalign patient is likely to remain active in hygiene. They may accept appropriate additional services. They may purchase retainers, and significantly, they may refer family or friends. All these factors increase the long-term dollar value of Invisalign patients. Those downstream values are why the patient experience, follow-up, retention, and referral systems, they all matter. That is why TriVantage treats Invisalign growth as a complete operating system rather than a single campaign. Dentists and their team do not just receive ideas. They receive the toolkit to help the team build, practice, measure, and improve. The program includes the Success Playbook, the Launchpad workspace, scripts, and checklists, the KPI dashboard, and TriVantage coaching support. The downloadable guide that accompanies this episode gives you the public overview. It explains the system, the Launchpad journey, the first 90 days, financial opportunities, patient relationship value, and how to discuss fit or enrollment with TriVantage. The program I've covered here is available to champion dentist and gold medal marketing clients. The goal is simple: less stress and maximum success. Invisalign growth should not feel chaotic. Your team should know what to notice, what to say, who owns each step, and which numbers matter each week. Patients should receive clarity, not pressure. Doctors are able to lead with clinical confidence, and the practice should have a rhythm for measuring progress and improving every 90 days. If you want to discuss whether the TriVantage Invisalign Growth Program is a fit for your practice, download the guide, review it with your leadership team, and then contact me and my team here at TriVantage. You're welcome to call us 877-899-3005 or visit thechampiondentist.com. And if this kind of practice transformation content is helpful, by all means, subscribe to the Champion Dentist by TriVantage YouTube channel or podcast. Thank you for watching. Download the guide, talk it through with your team, and reach out when you are ready to build a calmer, more measurable, strongly profitable Invisalign growth engine. Thank you for your time. Cheers.